This is Teresa from My Crochet Obsession, and today is Freeform Friday, and I want to show you how I crocheted this spiral rose motif in the freeform technique. This scrumble will match other scrumbles that I've made in this same colorway that will be put together in a larger composition. In a previous video, we created the spiral rose motif, and now I'll include a link to this tutorial in the description box below. And now we're going to add to it and build this scrumble. You can see it's a little larger than the palm of my hand. And I am using worsted 4-weight yarn, and that's what happens with worsted weight yarn. Your scrumbles are a little bit larger than if you use one of the other size yarns, but any size yarn could be used for this project. In the event this is the first time you're joining me for Freeform Friday, I just wanted to inform you that the scrumble you're seeing on the screen at this time is the finished product. But when I started the process, I had no idea where it is going. I am taking you along on this journey of the intuitive crochet process, which is very much the creative process that I use in Freeform Crochet. That's enough talk. Let's learn how to crochet this scrumble. But I actually had this one completed all the way around to here, and I went ahead and took out some of the yarn, because one thing that's happening with my scrumbles is they're very dense, and I want to start making some more open spaces. So I'm going to I took it back to where I have a 2 double crochet, and now I'm going to chain 2 and then skip 1 stitch and double crochet, leaving a little window. I'm going to chain 2 again and skip a stitch, and into the next stitch double crochet, and repeat that again. So that's opening it up and putting a few little windows in there. I'm going to continue that all the way around. I don't have a great deal of yarn left, but nonetheless. And I think this one, I'm going to have one more in here, and then I'm going to join it to the flower, where it's almost like one of the petals. And let's see that. Will it lay flat? Yes, it will. And then let's chain 2 more. I think that ought to get me over to the flower. And then I'm going to find probably 2 or 3 stitches up and just join this yarn to one of the loops in the back. With a slip stitch. You could do a single crochet there too. In fact, I think I will, because I don't want it that, I want a little bit of space there. Maybe a half double would be better. And I'll come over only 2 stitches so it doesn't pull quite so much. Pull it tight quite so much. All right, and into the next stitch I'm going to single crochet and chain 1, and then I'm going to turn the work, and then back into that chain space I'm going to single crochet all the way across, just to give me some stitches to work into. 3 single crochet in each of the chain spaces in this round. we've got a count of 3 stitches, including the double crochet. So 3 stitches into each chain space all the way back. And here, where I'm running out of yarn, I'm going to grab my skein. I have some pieces here, and they're a different color, but I'm going to go ahead and add one of them here with a loop on the hook. Just pull it through to finish that single crochet. And then with the tails on the back, I'm going to crochet over those ends for a stitch or 2. Get it situated. So I have 2 stitches in that chain space, so 1 more. Now let's look at the work. Okay, I like the way that's looking. And I think from here I'm going to continue this orchid yarn in the top of the flower. Kind of wish that I had done this differently, just to continue this color. I don't want an abrupt stop there, and it just adds another dimension to the flower. Okay, I'm at least going to go around to where this started. With that, I'm going to adjust these stitches a little. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around to where I started this window. Now, one thing that I have learned with Freeform Crochet, whenever I first started Freeform, what I did not like about my large compositions was the busyness. And so what I started doing to remedy that situation is I started repeating elements. This is going to be my last stitch here. I want to come over to here to complete that stitch. So I'm just finding one loop to come into to slip stitch, and I'll still be able to weave that in a little bit. It'll be short, but it'll be fine. Okay, that looks good. And I will weave in my ends. I have to weave in my ends as I go. I can't leave all of this like this. It makes me crazy. But what I was saying about the continuity of a composition in Freeform, what I learned made mine look where I enjoyed them more, was to repeat elements. So I'm going to add some stitches and grow this scrumble, but I'm going to add popcorn stitches because I've already used them before in other scrumbles. And this is a little bit of a ruffle here, a little bit of a ruching. It'll show better whenever it's in the larger composition, but it's not real effective right now. But that's another element. And then, of course, the in back loops only to create the ridges, and then the random spirals to grow it larger. On this one, I added some shell stitches to make it undulate even more. And there's some over here too. And then there's some wiggles in wiggle crochet. So those will be the elements that I will be working with in order to expand these scrumbles, in order to make them more look like they go together. All right, so let me work with my ends and I'll be right back. And this is how this scrumble is looking. Little bit rough on the edge here, but by the time we get the next row of stitches on there, it'll be fine. And here's the way it looks on the back. I like for my freeform to look as neat on the back as it does on the front. Okay, now I'm going to get my yarn and see where I am in my color. Yeah, it would be all right to go to the navy blue here. With a slip knot on my hook, I'm going to attach the yarn. This is a time in your freeform crochet where you'll make a design choice of where to attach the yarn. I'm going to attach it decisions. Okay, I'm going to attach it where my windows begin here, and I'm going to begin adding some popcorn stitches. I'm going to make sure that I'm into the window, and I'm going to go into the back loop because I want my orchid that I added here as to be an accent that actually is revealed. So I'm going to come in and attach my yarn with a standing single crochet and chain two, no, just chain one, because I'm going to be doing double crochet popcorns. So I'm going to add 3 more double crochet. That's 1 and 2 and 3. So these will be 4 double crochet popcorn stitches. So pull up that loop and insert the hook into the top of that chain and pull through that loop and chain 1 to close the stitch. And that's our first popcorn. Whenever I've used this on another scrumble, the reason I really liked it is because it looked like a little flower bud. So that's kind of the way it's functioning here. Now I'm going to chain 2. And then I'm going to skip a stitch and into the next back loop after that. 4 double crochet. And after 4 double crochet, pull up that loop, insert the hook into that first double crochet, grab that loop and pull it through, chain 1 to close that stitch, chain 2 more, and skip a stitch and into the back loop of the next stitch, 4 double crochet. I didn't do my yarn over for my double. Here we go. Into the back loop, 4 double crochet. If you're crocheting right along with me and you want your popcorns larger, you just put extra stitches in there. 4 for me is generally the smallest I go. 3 is not really effective. But 4 is, like I said, it's about the smallest I go. All right, and then I chain 1 to close the stitch, chain 2 more to move the yarn over, and skip a stitch and into the next back loop, 4 double crochet. Pull up a loop, insert the hook into the first double crochet, and pull that loop through. Chain 1 to close the stitch, and chain 2 to move the yarn. And repeat the popcorn stitch pattern for a total of 7 popcorns. Close the stitch, and let's look at the work. Make sure everything is laying flat. If your work is not laying flat, put in extra chains in between. Let's continue. To bump. All right. Chain 1 to close this 7th popcorn. Let's make sure our work is laying flat. It will. Very nice, I like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and chain 2 again, just to make sure we have plenty of room. And I'm going to make my ruching with a treble crochet, and I am still going to skip a stitch and into the next back loop, 2 treble crochet. Chain 1, yarn over twice, into the next stitch, 2 treble crochet. Chain 1, and then the next back loop, 2 treble crochet. The reason I'm chaining 1 is it kind of softens the ruffle. Sometimes ruffles, with the yarn I'm using anyway, can have a tendency to be kind of hard. So I'm trying to open it up somewhat. And it gives an extra stitch there. So chain 1 and 2 treble crochets in the next stitch. I'm not skipping a stitch in the base. I'm just having a treble crochet increase in each stitch. After this treble and the chain, I'm going to reduce my stitch height to double crochet. So now two doubles in the next stitch. I want to get a little bit closer to the flower motif. It's the center. Chain 1 and 2 double crochet into the next stitch. And into the next stitch, 2 doubles. Chain 1. Into the next stitch, I'm going to half double crochet. And that's going to bring me up to my flower. And then I need to check to see, do I need another stitch or is it going to join nicely? Okay, so there we have our 7 popcorn stitches going into our ruching. I like that. I like the way that looks. And I'm thinking, yes, I can join. I'm going to join to the back loop, I'm just going to find a back loop and I'm going to join my ruching into any back loop. Very nice. Okay. Now what to do. All right. There's so many things to do here. Like I said, I'm going to continue with my the stitches that I've already started. And I tell you what I'm thinking. Here for this ruffle, I'm thinking it joins too close to the flower. So I've already chained one, and I'm going to go into that back loop and I'm going to put 2 more double crochet. Oops. And a chain 1. Let's put 1 more ruffle right here in that back loop. Double crochet 2 into that stitch just to come on around. I'm not going to go all the way around with ruffles, so chain 1. Okay, that's a decent transition. Okay, let's chain 1 again, and skip a stitch and in a back loop, double crochet. We're going to make a couple of windows again on this side. Chain 2, skip a stitch on the back and into a back loop. If you can find 2, even better. It's getting kind of tight back there for me. Chain 2, skip a stitch and into the next back loop, double crochet. All right, that gives us 3 windows. Repeat that 1 more time, 2 more times actually. Skip a stitch and into the next back loop, double crochet, and 1 more time. Skip a stitch and into the back loop, double crochet. I want to get over to the popcorns and start another row of popcorns, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to decrease where the popcorns kind of make a triangle. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to chain 2 again and double crochet, skip a stitch and double crochet into the next back loop. Chain 2, skip a stitch and double crochet into the next back loop. Continue until I get all the way around. I'm going to put in 1 more double crochet just to anchor, skip a stitch and into that loop right there. double crochet, and then that should get me, even though it's underneath, it gets me to where I want to be. So I'm going to slip stitch into the chain space between the popcorn, and I'm going to chain 2, actually 3, and then 3 double crochet into that chain space. Pull up a loop and into the top of that chain space, top of the chain up, pull through that loop. Chain 1 to close the stitch or complete the stitch, and then chain 2 more. And 4 double crochet into the next chain space. I don't do much color controlling with Freeform. Sometimes I do, but I don't do it that much. I just let the yarn do its thing and work for me. I like striping yarn and mandala and ombres for Freeform, because you have the subtle color changes, and some of them are very drastic color changes, like this one. It's pretty crisp and clear, but I let the yarn do the work. And it also does all the coordinating of colors. So, you know, if it's pleasing to me in the skein, then it's probably going to be pleasing in the composition. Now I want this row to have one less popcorn on each end. So the first row had 7, so I'll either have 5 or 6 on this row. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. This is my last one. And then we'll go to the next row. Chain 1 to close the stitch, turn the work, and insert the stitch into that last chain space that was made. Pull up a loop. Now chain 3 and 3 double crochet into that chain space again. We're making the popcorn stitches. Popcorns can be made on the front or the back. The difference is we're going to have the back of the stitch showing this time, which doesn't bother me at all. Oh, you have to insert the hook from the front whenever you're making them in this direction. I have my hook into the wrong stitch. It needs to go in that chain space. Alright, I'm going to get a smaller crochet hook so I can get into that chain space. I made it kind of tight, just to pull that loop through. There we go. And then the same drill. chain 1 to close, complete the popcorn, and chain 2 to move the yarn and hook over to the next chain space, and 4 double crochet. Return the work at the end. Let's look at our work. Okay, so we started out with 7 popcorn stitches. Now we have 6 and 5. In the next round, we will have 4, 3, 2, 1. I want to go all the way down. So slip stitch into the next chain space after you turn your work, and chain 3. Being careful not to get my chains too tight where I can't get back in them. So 3 double crochet into that same chain space. It's the same drill as before, but this time we insert the hook from the front of the work. So essentially we're inserting the hook from the front of the work every single time on these, even though we're turning our work, but the front is on the back sometimes. Okay, 4 double crochet, Turn the work and continue. Insert the hook into the chain space and pull up a loop, slip stitch, chain 3. I'm going to make sure that's not too tight, and then 3 double crochet. And this time I will insert my hook from the back as it's turned, which is actually the front of the work, and pull through a loop. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Double crochet 4 into the chain space. Same drill as before. Let's look at the work, make sure it's laying flat and is the way we want it to be. I like the way that's looking. Now you may not want to repeat this as many times as I am. I only chained 2 there because I'd already done a chain before I turned. I had already slip stitched and chain 1. Turn the work, and last popcorn for me. 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3 half doubles, pull up a loop, insert from the front, from the back, to and slip stitch to end the stitch. Now that almost looks like grapes rather than buds, but I don't care. I like it. And then it gives me the idea that also on this one where I used popcorns, I think I'm going to come in and put some more. But I may only put 2 and then 1 just to have a off asymmetrical kind of look rather than like this. But that's where I'm going to end the work today. But to end this work, I'm going to come into one of the back loops of the popcorn. I think I'm going to grab my smaller hook, insert into the back loop, and slip stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1 and pull up a loop and clip my yarn. Pull that knot back to the back. And here you have it. Today's Freeform Scrumble is complete. I thoroughly enjoyed bringing you this tutorial today and making this freeform crochet meditation is what it is for me. I appreciate your time, and if you've gained value from this tutorial, I'd appreciate your giving me a thumbs up. It really helps grow the channel. And until I see you again, keep calm and crochet on.